what are the hot topics in smart cities right now?
Well, interesting situation, particularly from cities and communities perspective. If you had asked this question to me 4 months ago, I probably would have had a different answer.
Right.
COVID-19 obviously has changed the narrative quite a bit, right? Um, it has changed uh, the very societal impact, if you will. Okay, and some of the questions that are coming up and some of the topics that are evolving is what role can technology play
Yeah.
in the whole ecosystem of smart cities and smart communities, right? The whole predictive angle. Can we predict the next pandemic?
Mm.
Can technology help in remediation efforts and services and things like that? So obviously it is COVID-19 is playing a pretty big role. And I think what has also happened, Jen, is this particular industry segment, if we were to dial it back to distribute tech, okay, why
Hmm.
are we here? What are we going to
Yeah.
talk about, right? When you think of the narrative, I think healthcare, energy efficiency, these are all bubbling up to the surface of the mayor's, hot topics. So
Yeah.
we actually keep every quarter we do a pulse survey of the 30 largest metroplexes in the country. Okay.
Okay.
And we call it the mayor's hot topics, if you will. Okay. And typically it has always been environmental concerns and a lot of other things. Healthcare and energy typically have been sort of fourth, fifth type. Now what we are seeing is healthcare, energy efficiency, transportation. It has absolutely bubbled up to the top of that food chain, if you will.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
most interesting piece that is going on is, let's take just the last 3 months of the pandemic. If you do a survey of the energy consumption profile, energy consumption habits of communities, we have seen a drastic shift. We have
Yeah.
seen peak load times shift as much as 3 to 4 hours. Energy
That's
consumption,
amazing.
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
There
Yeah, it
are
really is.
utilities and there are cities where you used to have anywhere from 4 to 7 p.m. as, peak could occur anytime. We have some cities where the energy peak, consumption peak is actually happening later and later and later in
Hmm.
the evening. And in the morning, it has also shifted. And
Hmm.
some cities we are seeing about 3 to 4 hour shifts. And then you think of the overall quantum of energy consumed, power consumption. We've seen dips in some large cities as much as 10 to 11%. But there is a shift, right?
Right.
From large commercial industrial customers, it is moving, interestingly enough, to hospitals, um, pizza joints, and things like that, right? But if you
Yeah.
think of the side of it, the other topic that is becoming very, very relevant is, without even doing anything per se to help the environment, because of this sudden lull, we have seen carbon footprints reduced by, impact of 6 to 8%. So
Yeah.
these are sort of the key things that are going on, at
Yeah.
least in session or
Yeah.
round.
Well, so what do you think will be an important topic for discussion then next year? I mean, we're going to have almost a whole year from now. It's next
Yeah,
February 2021. What do
yeah.
you think we're going to want to be talking about at Distributech in regards to smart cities?
Well, I mean, it's again a very, very interesting question, because some of the topics that we've been discussing as part of the smart cities, smart communities track, if you will, and as it pertains to other parts of distribute tech as well, people have been talking about investments in smart cities. But the challenge that the industry has been facing so far has been in the monetization of that investment.
Right.
Lots and lots of people have talked about soft benefits. We're going to automate traffic management system. Great. Helps the
Yeah.
citizens. But somebody has to invest in it. And
Right.
how do I make a return on that investment? Right? I know it sounds crass, but at the end of the day, cities cannot raise enough capital to make
Right.
them smarter.
Oh,
You need the
right.
private community. It is a
Yeah.
3P model.
Yeah.
And so we've got to think about where is the hard, tangible benefits going to come from, you know? So that is I think one of the innovative topics we need to see more and more of. And we're going to
Yeah.
see it's evolving.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, others have said we'll see what innovative programs utilities have developed as a result of going through this pandemic. I think that'll be really interesting to see next year too. All right, so if you could describe like your ideal presentation or your, best panel ever, what would that look like at DistribuTech 2021?
I mean, we usually around this time of the year, right? When the committee gets together and we sort of pontificate on, what's that ideal stage look like,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah,
And I've been fortunate enough that I've hosted a couple of mega sessions in the past 2 years. And we've been very successful in filling the room, if you will, because we've been able to sort of gather industry thought leaders from multiple different communities or multiple different segments of the power sector and
mm-hmm.
outside as well. So in my opinion, given everything that we are seeing and how this is evolving from a smart cities and IoT perspective, my ideal panel, let's say, or my ideal kind of speakers, if you will, in one
So, yeah,
session, it's going to be representation from the cities, a leader from a smart city or a community that has already seen and kind of gone down that path. I
yep,
mean, you've had several examples, right? The likes of San Diego and Atlanta, they have taken it to
yeah,
another level. Right in my backyard in Dallas, Dallas is another city that has kind of jumped in. And if you look at what's going on in the dark corridor in the city of Dallas and the suburbs, great examples, right?
mm,
So a representation from the leadership from one of the cities that are really thinking from a future perspective, somebody from the energy sector, from the power sector, that actually is developing programs and technologies, if you will, to enable the smartness, if you will, in a city.
yep,
Then you
yep.
have
Okay,
the two other legs. This is a four-legged stool. The
all
two
right.
other key legs, you cannot enable any of them without bringing in communications.
Mm-hmm.
How the evolving communications infrastructure what does that need to look like to make all of this happen? And then when you think of from a beneficiary perspective, one of the key beneficiaries or the key use cases, if you will, the industry looks at is transportation, intelligent
Yeah,
transportation. So
yeah.
if I could get those four, the cities, power sector, communication sector, transportation sector, if I can get that motley crew, if you will, that would be fantastic.